Growing up. Cha Chuang Chod. Luang Por Chah was born on the 7th waning day of the 7th moon of the year of the horse, 1918. He was the 5th of 11 children born to Ma and Pim Chuang Chod, who, like the vast majority of their generation, were subsistence rice farmers. The name Cha means clever, capable, resourceful. In accordance with custom, Luang Por's mother gave birth to him kneeling, her arms above her head, grasping a rope suspended from the rafters of the house. Afterwards, she endured 15 days of confinement, lying with her stomach as close as possible to a charcoal brazier to dry out her womb, an ancient custom that still survived in the countryside, despite some 70 years previously King Mongkut railing against it as this senseless and monstrous crime of having women smoked and roasted. In his first few months after weaning, Luang Por's mother would have fed him by chewing and masticating sticky rice in her own mouth and then gently spooning it into his. Luang Por was born into an affectionate and respected household, one of the wealthier families in a closely knit community. The Isan villagers of those days, isolated by forests and vulnerable to the vagaries of the weather and the caprice of spirits, put great store on sharing, generosity and harmony. The model was of extended families living together or in adjoining houses, and over generations, almost everybody in a village would be related at one remove or another with everybody else. Houses were made of wood, roofed with grass thatch and raised on stilts as protection from floods and wild animals. They were placed close together with no fixed boundaries between them. Life was conducted on a large, open space upstairs, with rooms used only for sleeping. People not only heard their neighbors' family dramas, they could see them as well. There was no concept of privacy, much less a desire for it. The villagers subscribed to respect for monks, elders and spirits. They valued consideration for the feelings of others and a healthy sense of right and wrong, and they relished laughter and conversation. Luang Por grew up with a strong sense of community and place and the gift of the gab. The adjective that was often used to describe Luang Por in his later years, ebullient, is the one that comes most readily to mind when picturing him as a child. He had an outgoing, sunny and occasionally exuberant disposition, but also possessed a keen, observant eye. He was nobody's fool. Luang Por bore the round face and flat lion's nose common to his race. More distinctively, his mouth was unusually wide and compelling. In contrast to the powerful symmetry of his face, his right ear was slightly larger than the left. He was acknowledged as the natural leader of his group of friends. Companions remembered him as the one whom everyone wanted to be close to, and without whom all games and adventures seemed dull. They recalled his even temper. They said he never enforced his dominance with bullying or coercion, and that no one could recall him in a fight. He was more likely to be a mediator in his companions' disputes. And, from an early age, he was drawn by the yellow robe. In later years, he related childhood memories of dressing up as a monk. He said he would sit sternly on an old bamboo bed with his kamar cloth, the all-purpose piece of cloth used by Thai males, draped over his left shoulder like a robe, while his friends played the parts of the laity. He remembered enacting the daily meal offering, presumably the only event in the monk's daily life that lent itself to drama. Luang Por would ring a bell, and his friends would carry plates of fruit and cool water towards him. After bowing 3 times, they would offer it to him meekly. In return, he would give them the 5 precepts and a blessing. Isan culture lacks a hard and fast distinction between the ideas of work and play. The word ngan expresses this fluidity well, meaning both work and also festival, ceremony or fair. Children brought up in the villages of Isan have always been taught to take on responsibilities from an early age, in the fields, in the house, and in raising younger siblings. For the most part, they seem to possess a natural talent for enjoying their duties. In Luang Por's day, children's main job would be taking the family's water buffaloes out to graze. They would also help in the search for extra food. Although mushroom gathering was a favorite occupation after rainfall, catching small creatures for the evening meal was the most common task. It may seem surprising that the devoutly Buddhist Isan villagers should be so ready to take life. The harshness of the environment undoubtedly played a part. Hunting was also part of their culture that pre-existed their adoption of Buddhism by thousands of years, and which they never fully abandoned. Whatever the case, the Isan villagers ate living creatures without distinction. Insects, lizards, beetles, nothing was spared. After reading accounts of Isan village life in the early 20th century, it's easy to imagine the boy Chah in the hot season, riding a placid water buffalo out to pasture early in the morning, or in the stifling heat of midday, see him sitting in the shade of a mango tree, singing snatches of popular songs, munching lazily on a mango, or taking a nap. During a rainy season downpour, as a boisterous group of young lads chase after frogs and toads, he is surely the one in the lead, roaring at the top of his voice. In the cold season, he is on another hunting expedition. With friends watching from below, he climbs up a tree, grasping a long stick, whose ends are smeared with viscous jackfruit sap, and touches the backs of the cicadas, congregating on the cool wind-blown branches. As he puts his prizes in a lidded basket to take home for dinner, he puts one or two aside for blasting the eardrum of an unwary companion. Although these scenes have a definite charm to them, Luang Por believed that they bore an unseen shadow. In later years, he said that many of the illnesses that afflicted him throughout his life were the karmic consequences of casual cruelties he had inflicted on living creatures as a boy.